Dr. Eric Kelly III and a host of phenomenal speakers from all around the globe for this 7-day virtual event that you don't want to miss.
The mission of the Black Business Expo is to raise scholarship money from kids all the way from high school all the way from college. The Black Business Olympics is one of the largest Black business showcases in the world. It is an opportunity for businesses and companies to showcase their businesses globally. We are going to be giving away laptops up to $5,000 away to students. Again, I'm Olivia Appleberry, the founder of 2 Cents Finance and one of the speakers for the expo. I am so excited to see you there. For more info, go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-308-9090 and hope to see you there.
I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep. Yes, I am Black business. I am Black business. Tell me, are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? Listen, I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black business in the world. The world! Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-308-9090. I am Black business.
I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep, I am Black business. I am Black business. Are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black America in North Carolina. Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-380-9090. I am Black business. I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep, I am Black business. I am Black business. Are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black America in North Carolina. Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-380-9090. I am Black business. I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep, I am Black business. I am Black business. Are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black America in North Carolina. Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-380-9090. I am Black business.
Dr. Eric Kelly III and a host of phenomenal speakers from all around the globe for this 7-day virtual event that you don't want to miss.
The mission of the Black Business Expo is to raise scholarship money from kids all the way from high school, all the way from college. The Black Business Olympics is one of the largest Black business showcases in the world. It is an opportunity for businesses and companies to showcase their businesses globally. We are going to be giving away laptops up to $5,000 away to students. Again, I'm Olivia Appleberry, the founder of 2 Cents Finance and one of the speakers for the expo. I am so excited to see you there. For more info, go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-308-9090 and hope to see you there.
I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep. Yes, I am Black business. I am Black business. Tell me, are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? Listen, I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black business in the world.
Good afternoon, Black business owners, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and corporations. Welcome to the Black Business Network. My name is Dr. Alina Zachary Ross of AZR Leads. I am your business moderator for this afternoon on the Black Business Network. The Black Business Network is a 24-hour business network showcasing Black businesses, business owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders worldwide. We have speakers from North Carolina, London, Singapore, Africa, Japan, and cities all over the United States. The Black Business Network is a global community sharing its business knowledge to empower, inspire, and educate businesses about business. Black executive and entrepreneurs as corporate directors on the African continent. Our next speaker is Henri Ward of BBX. Henri Ward has extensive experience leading high growth, high margin technology and services businesses on an international scale. With a proven track record of successfully delivering sales, operational, and financial results in both domestic and global markets, Henri continues to be recognized for his collaborative leadership and exceptional business acumen. He is CEO of BBX, the first U.S.-based but African-centric corporate board preparedness and board search company specifically designed connect U.S. Black talent and multinational corporations to high growth businesses on the African continent. I present to you Henri Ward.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I am wonderful. Genius is common. I'll see you on the other side.
Awesome.
Hey, you didn't think I was going to leave you out here by yourself, Henri.
How are you, Grant?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I said, he's listening. He said, she said Henri. I know. Henri. We got Henri Ward here, man. This is going to be a wonderful fireside chat with you. I am so enamored about what you're doing. I'm excited about what you're doing because I think you are emboldening a brand new opportunity for Black professionals and entrepreneurs to truly connect across the entire continents in which Black people reside and giving them a structure that they can succeed. So let's start off. Tell us about Be Direct, man. Give us an idea of what we're dealing with.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks so much, Grant, for having me. So, as the opening said, Be Direct is the first U.S. based but African centric corporate board preparedness and board search company specifically designed to connect Black entrepreneurs and Black executives with high growth businesses on the African continent. For us, it's really a matter of doing a couple of things. One, it's giving Black executives and entrepreneurs an opportunity for paid corporate board work where they may not be able to get that opportunity here in the United States. It also provides Black businesses on the African continent with a great talent to be able to help them grow their businesses, and quite frankly, also perhaps gives them access to new markets globally with the talent of the skill set that we're bringing over. Kind of critical to our business success, and what makes Be Direct actually very unique is that we not only take the corporate governance piece, but we marry that with cultural dexterity, because the reality is you cannot take a Western trained person regardless of the hue of their skin. The reality is if you were born in the Western hemisphere, if you were raised in the Western hemisphere, you are Western thinking. And you cannot take a Western trained person, take them to a different country on a different continent and expect them to be successful from a business perspective, because they just will not, because culturally we are very different. And so we spend as much time in our 8-month training program talking about cultural dexterity as we do talking about corporate governance.
This is very interesting because that's a challenge.
It is.
Cultural challenge. I'm in Miami, Florida right now. Obviously I understand American business, and understand American board culture, or I would say structure, more than anything else. So let's say I'm interested, Henri, and then you say, okay, we're going to take you through this particular coursework, this program, and I'm saying, hey, I want to work in West Africa. I want to work in Nigeria, Togo, Ghana area.
Mm-hmm.
So take me through the process. What does that look like?
Yeah. So the process for us looks like a couple of things. One, we ask for potential candidates to go to our website and sign up from an application process perspective, so that we can kind of get a view of them and get a view of their background. Our target market is primarily Black executives in the diaspora. And by the way, we specifically say Black executives and not African American. Okay. We are intentional about that, because if you are a person of Haitian descent, if you're a person of Jamaican descent, if you're a person of Ghanaian descent that happens to be residing in the United States, you don't necessarily consider yourself an African American, but you do consider yourself an African in the diaspora. So we ask people to go to our website and go through the application process. For us, once we actually select the candidate, we take them through an 8-month training program, which entails a couple of things. One, we've partnered with a wonderful company on the African continent called Mill Park. They're actually based out of South Africa, and they actually do corporate governance training from an African perspective. And the methodology is called King 4, and it's a little different than corporate governance from a U.S. perspective. But the cohort, and we bring people in from a cohort perspective. So that cohort actually spends the next 8 months together. And in that, they spend 2 hours per month going through corporate governance training, really understanding what does it mean to be a corporate director on the African continent for both a public company and a privately held company. We also take them through, as I was saying before, this concept of cultural dexterity. So as a part of our skill set, we have folks in our organization who have actually worked on the African continent against 5 different countries. So South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, and Ethiopia. So, and by the way, those are our key target markets as well. We've got folks that understand how to do business on the African continent. In addition to that, kind of as a side note to that, our founder, Larry Yan, actually is a serial entrepreneur. This is his 3rd company, and he actually has a cybersecurity company and a call center company that is operations are based on the African continent. And so the leadership of BDirect is very, very comfortable doing business on the African continent. So we take the corporate governance piece, we take the cultural dexterity piece, and then the last piece of the puzzle for us is executive coaching. So as the cohort is going through this training process, really understanding what does it mean from a classroom perspective to be a corporate director on the African continent, we've also partnered with another company that is African-based, that's run by a Black female, that also has domain knowledge in corporate governance to serve as executive coach. So each person going through this experience will be assigned their own personal executive coach. So as they are learning and having this classroom experience, the executive coach is working with them on a one-on-one perspective. Now, simultaneous to this, we're also working with African companies on the continent to actually do a matching process. So we're in many ways working as kind of a traditional executive search firm as well. So as we're taking folks through this cohort experience, you know, we're looking at South Africa, we're looking at Ghana, we're looking at Kenya, we're looking at Tanzania, we're looking at Ethiopia to say what businesses, what corporations in these countries would be suitable for these folks to sit on their corporate boards. And we're working one-on-one with those corporate CEOs and their boards from a placement perspective.
Let me ask you this, because I like where you're going. And I know there is a hurdle just to get up to speed, especially from, let's just say, the American perspective. Mm-hmm. And there's got to be a similar hurdle on the other side of the ball in these other countries.
For sure.
And I guess my first question is the why. Why would they want a business person, let's say from the Western culture, to come to the Eastern culture? Is it because there's a deficit? Is it they have a particular skill set? What exactly do they gain from having this type of person on their board?
Awesome question. So we look at it in terms of cultural economics. So for us, and what that means is the fact that the CEO on an African corporate board is looking for a couple of things. One, they may be seeking specific skill sets to add to their board that they may not necessarily have. For instance, we have people coming through our first cohort who have experience as corporate officers in power generation companies that have nuclear engineering backgrounds, or folks that have backgrounds regarding consumer packaged goods. And they have specific skill sets in terms of whether that be engineering or supply chain or sales and marketing. So the CEOs may be looking to add these resources to their board to be able to add value from a functional perspective. In addition to that, they may be also looking to expand their own markets. So what these executives from the Americas can bring to the table also is potentially opening up new geographic markets from a sales perspective to them as well. And so those are just kind of two things: functional experience and new market opportunities that a CEO and their board would be looking at from that perspective. One other thing I want to add to that, because it is such a great question. We are working with a company on the African continent from a sales channel perspective. And this company actually is going to help us actually look at what companies on the African continent would be the best fit. And one of the pieces of information that I got from the CEO of this sales channel partner was, she said to me, I speak to CEOs across the African continent every day, all day. And I'm also very in contact with their boards. And one of the things that happens with many corporate boards on the African continent is that many of them, for instance, if you've got a company that's based in Ghana, most of that board is going to be from Ghana. And as a matter of fact, most of that board may be from the same region in Ghana. And so what bringing these Black executives and entrepreneurs over to sit on these boards, what it provides is kind of out of the box thinking. It provides different and new perspectives to both the CEO and to their boards that they may not be getting just from kind of an insular perspective currently.
These are very interesting insights that you're letting us know about. I don't know if you have success stories now, or that you do, that which you've taken someone fully through this process and they're operating now on the continent, vice versa. And if you can share with us kind of like some learning points that you found out, maybe you learned from that experience and then you were able to add or subtract to your own program that you think would be beneficial for our audience to know about.
So our first cohort actually begins this June. We are literally a startup company. We started this process almost 3 years ago. So we started in December of 2020 in the ideation phase. And then from there, we went to, actually getting the partnerships with the companies on the African continent. So we have not graduated our first class yet. That first class will actually graduate January of 2024. So it's going to be a great experience for all of us. We start our second cohort in September of this year. So about a quarter apart. And to your point about kind of lessons learned, the reason that we spread out the cohorts is so that we could get lessons learned from the first cohort that we would be able to take into the second cohort.
Let me ask, because you've been there, you've got experience. What were some things that you learned, through your own? You've been in business, 20 plus years. You've done a lot. You've got an impressive background. You're working with an impressive team. And as you endeavored into this program and this particular business, what did you learn about when you interacted individually from your lens with these different countries?
One of the things that we talk about in the kind of why Be Direct is, it's this kind of motto: business is easy, but people are hard.
Yeah.
We tend to, on the Western side, we tend to focus on the numerics. We tend to focus on the financials. We tend to focus on process. We tend to focus on the quantitative. One of the things that you will learn, whether it's doing business on the African continent or doing business, quite frankly, in Asia, is it's all about the relationship. It's about really, before a person wants to do business with you, they actually want to know who you are as a person. And they want to know how relating to you as a person is going to relate to them as a person. So it's that interaction of building relationship, of building comfort level, that I think is the best learning experience. The other thing, such great questions. The other thing we want to make sure of is that, and which is why this cultural dexterity piece is so important. We want to make sure that the executives that we're introducing to these CEOs and their boards are not coming over with a savior complex. Are not coming over with the thinking that, because I'm a vice president or senior vice president of this or that from a Fortune 500 company, I'm going to come over and, show you poor Africans, the best way to do business. That is not going to work. Particularly when the CEO of this company, one, is going to be paying you as a corporate board director for your services, and two, when that CEO more than likely has a higher net worth than you do. So it's very important to really understand the cultural dynamics piece of this, which is why we differentiate ourselves from many of the other organizations that are doing corporate board work in the United States. There are several wonderful organizations here in the U.S. that are focused on Black executives to do corporate board work in the United States. And we support all of those. As a matter of fact, our tagline is more tables, more seats. So we aren't trying to slice up the same pie. We're trying to create more pies. Yeah. Because the more pies that you create, the more slices of that pie you can actually deliver. And so, long answer to your question, but it really is about the relationship piece in terms of what we want to make sure of the lessons learned and the differentiator that we're bringing to the table.
I love the fact and relationships, and I've seen that, at least, especially here. I'm in Miami, Florida, so there's a lot of international people here, and each culture, there's a lot of cultures represented. They have different ways of doing things. Like, they don't like to just sit down and get right to the business. Let's sit down. Let's have an espresso. Let's talk about family. Let's talk about what's going on in your life, and then talk about your why. Why is this important for you personally? What's not just what's in it for you. Why is this important? And then they kind of like do a gauge, like, if this is that important to you, that means it'll be important for us, because it's not just, because there's always risks involved with any business adventure. There's risk involved, and there's investments involved. There's investment of time, money, resources, all the like. So we need to know as we go down this road, sometimes there's some dark corners. That's right. That you're not going to just bolt. No, we got to know that you've got some fortitude,
some skin in the game.
Some complete skin in the game.
That's right.
And that you're ready to deal with problems that may or may not be something you've dealt with before. One thing I learned just on this expo and talking to another gentleman that I found to be very, very interesting, that he was asked to go over to, I can't remember the country. I think it was Tanzania or something like that. I can't remember the exact country in Africa, but he was asked to go over because he had done a wonderful job in putting together some collaborative events, and they liked what he had done. So they invited him over to meet with the president and to meet with their team and see how they could do something similar there. And he was told before he got there, so you need to understand, we're going to first put you in a very nice hotel. This is going to be the nicest hotel in the country. But when you walk in there, there will be no Africans. He's like, oh, but we're in Africa, and you're in a country where it's predominantly, people of black skin. How
That's
can I
right.
go to a hotel and there's no black people? And it was an eye-opening experience because he actually went there and he actually saw this, because the people that were doing business at that level, the very high levels, were people from the Middle East. There were people from Russia. There were people from China. There were people from other areas of the world, but there were very few actual Africans that were part of some of these business adventures. Is that something that you've experienced as well?
One of the things that we did in terms of our market research before entering into this business venture is really kind of look at how do we address that exact issue. And one of the things that we found in our market research is that the continent of Africa is actually one of the fastest growing um, geographies in terms of new business ventures. It actually has one of the highest growth rates for Black entrepreneurs, across the African continent. Whether you're looking at, South Africa or on the western side, Nigeria. So for us, it's really being able to tap into those Black entrepreneurs who haven't necessarily made it to the Fortune 500 equivalent level, right? So, we're looking at businesses on the African continent that are generating revenue, let's say between 100 million to 2 or 3 billion per year, and in terms of revenue, because those are the businesses that would benefit, quite frankly, from having a corporate board. And you're right in terms of, if you're looking at kind of large corporations that we would consider kind of within that Fortune 500 space, which is, let's say, 5 billion and above. You're absolutely correct. Most of those are run by, I would say, non-indigenous Africans, because, and I use that phrase specifically because, you have people of Asian Indian descent who are born and raised on the African continent. You have people of Arabian descent who were born and raised on the African continent. So they consider themselves African, quite frankly, but are not necessarily indigenous African. And so when we look at, our target markets, we're looking specifically for Black leadership, Black CEOs who are looking for growth opportunities and are looking to have someone with the skill sets that we're taking through our program to be able to help them with that. There have been several startups over the last 2 or 3 years post-pandemic who have gone to unicorn status that have been led by Black African CEOs. And for those who may not know, unicorn status means that the company has a market valuation of $1 billion or more. So with that, the market is there. And to our knowledge, we are really the first company that's seeking to tap into that.
Well, I commend you for doing your market research, finding the gap, and seeing where the Western world of Black professionals can fit in. I want to ask you that: Are you verticalized? Are you looking at particular verticals? You said healthcare. There's manufacturing. There's science, technology. I mean, are you all over the place, or you have a particular vertical that you focus on?
So we are agnostic from a vertical perspective, with a caveat. And that caveat is we do have a tendency to focus in the technology space and in the consumer goods and retail space. So, for instance, healthcare IT, fintechs, financial IT, anywhere from the technology perspective. Power generation, as I was saying before, we have someone who is coming into the first cohort who is a corporate officer, a vice president at a global power generation company that provides nuclear power generation technology across the globe. We also have someone coming in who's got very strong experience from a consumer packaged goods perspective. And so vertically agnostic, however, there are certain specific spaces that we do kind of want to maximize in.
Now I'm curious about, do you have enough pipeline that you can develop? Because those industries traditionally don't have a lot of Black executives to begin with. So you're already dealing with what I would call unicorns in those spaces. Just thinking off the top of my head, I mean, you don't get past 20, 30 people, you start to run out of space. Are you finding that to be a challenge?
So what we're doing to go directly to that issue is that we are partnering, and I can't talk specifically about the partnerships right now, but we are partnering with executive organizations, Black executive organizations, well-known Black executive organizations that will basically provide a channel partnership with us and a feeder for us. So to go after that exact problem, the folks are there, and they are a part of certain specific leadership organizations, and we are looking to partner with those organizations to provide that pipeline of experience. The other piece is, because of the fact that our target market for Black executives is vice president to C-suite. One of the things that we also know is that, which is again why our tagline being more tables, more seats. Most of the corporate board work in the United States is going to Black executives who are C-suite or one level below. And to your point, because that's rarefied air,
right?
I think to date there are only 7 Black CEOs within the Fortune 500. So what we see happening is it's almost like going for your first job, right? When you go for your first job interview, the first question is, what experience do you have, right? And you can't get experience without having a job, and you can't get a job without having experience. So what happens now in the US in terms of Black corporate board work is corporations are going back to those same people, and they're hitting that same well time over time over time, which is why you have certain Black corporate board directors who may sit on 4 or 5 boards because they're coming with experience. One of the things that we also know from our market research is at the vice president to senior vice president level, those folks are not getting board work opportunities in the United States.
Yep.
Let me rephrase. They are not getting paid.
Right, there's a difference.
Corporate board work in the United States. Many sit on multiple nonprofits, right? That's great work. It's good for the soul, but it is different than having a fiduciary responsibility for a corporation. And so by going down to the vice president to senior vice president level and up, that also expands our market in terms of who we go after, and that space that we go after. I spent many years of my life in the strategic planning and strategic marketing process, as well as running technology companies and technology P&Ls. And there's a saying within the strategic planning world about TAM and SaaS. So TAM is total available market, and SaaS is served available segment. And so basically, how big is your universe? Goes back to your question, right? How big a market are you going after? And then specifically, who within that universe, what galaxies and planets within that universe are you going after? And as we kind of size the market, we realized that the people are there, particularly if you go down to that vice president to senior vice president level, and they are not getting the exposure and they are not getting the opportunities here in the United States. So it becomes a perfect win-win for us, win-win for them, and win-win for African corporations.
No, that's very smart. Very, very smart, because that's where you see the pool and the bulk. You probably see that is where most of the Black executives reside, in these larger Fortune 500 companies that fit the profile that you're talking about. They're at least $1 billion in revenue company, or that. And then if they're in that VP level as well, they have a specific skill set that they're bringing, that they're very, very skilled in this particular area of the business.
That's right.
That can definitely bode well for where they're looking to advance. And then to your earlier point about leveraging the relationship, because the corporation, like, hey, you're going to go over to, let's just say Ethiopia, just for example, or you're on their corporate board, and they're doing, a complementary business to us, and then that opens up for everybody. So that is success. I would figure that's the kind of success stories you're going to be looking to be able to garner as you move forward.
That's exactly right. And one of the things that we are really, really excited about is the quality of the candidates that we have coming through this first cohort. They are exceptional. Many of them are already sitting on corporate boards here in the United States already. Many of them are already sitting on either privately held company boards or publicly traded company boards. And so they're already bringing corporate board experience, but want to expand that from a African diaspora perspective. And we also look at it as, you may have heard this term, doing well while doing good. Mm-hmm. So for us, what that means is you can take a Black executive who eventually will be placed on a paid corporate board, but also it gives Africans in the diaspora, who we are, an opportunity to reconnect with Africans on the continent.
Sure.
And for Africans in the diaspora, that's really important, because many of us do not know specifically where our heritage comes from a geographic perspective. Now, you can do, one of the tests to find out, what.
Yeah, 23andMe.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not going to give you.
Right.
No.
Exactly. Yeah. You aren't going to be able to do the Alex Haley and say you come from, Jufurika, right?
And know the story of how you got here, right?
That's exactly right. And so what the doing well part is, it allows Africans in the diaspora to reconnect with our own heritage, to reconnect with who we are, with the understanding and with the proviso that we have to not only be sensitive to the culture that we're going into, but that we also have to lift up that culture, right? We also have to not just be aware of that culture, but we have to embrace that culture. Sometimes people think doing business on the African continent is the same, right? And that is absolutely not true. It would be as if saying to someone, doing business in Italy is the same as doing business in Spain, is the same as doing business in the UK, right? Those, although they're all European cultures, a Brit views him or herself very different than a Spaniard views themselves very different than an Italian, right? And so even intra-continent, there exists diversity, right? So a South African views themselves different from a Ghanaian, who views themselves different from an Ethiopian, who views themselves different from a Tanzanian. And so a part of this whole cultural dexterity piece is really being able to help people understand how do you bridge that gap from a cultural dexterity perspective, while at the same time adding value. And the adding value is extremely important, because the reality is, to your point earlier, the CEO and that board is making a conscious decision to bring this Black executive or entrepreneur on, and not bring on someone intra-country, right? And so that Black executive has to show how they're going to pay for themselves, right? So you've got to come in day one adding value, whether that value be from a functional perspective, whether that value be from an opportunity to perhaps open up new markets, all at the same time while adhering to corporate governance.
And what I'm hearing you also say that, because you said about the cultural aspects in these other countries and how they feel about themselves, I think it gives specifically Black Americans here in this country an opportunity to, I say, to culture up. Absolutely. Really embrace your Americanism, understanding of who you are, or who have you become over time here. It doesn't mean you have to, adopt another tribal identity, because that's your, but you have your own tribal identity, is who you are in the diaspora, right? And it gives you an opportunity to actually excel upon that.
That's exactly right. And just one quick story. One of my best friends is Nigerian. He is Yoruba. He was born and raised in Nigeria, spent the first 20 years of his life in Nigeria, came to the United States in his early 20s to go to college. He's now been in the United States now for 40 something years. He's 68. He views himself as a Nigerian living in America. When he goes home to Nigeria, he's viewed as an American visiting Nigeria. Because of the fact that he has been in the States for so long, he is now viewed, although born and raised in Nigeria, he is viewed more as an American than a Nigerian. And this is something that we also want to make sure that Black executives and entrepreneurs understand. When you go over to the African continent, or quite frankly, when you go outside of the United States, you're not viewed as a African American.
Yeah.
You're viewed as an American.
Correct.
And all of that, for good and for bad, all of that has to be accounted for from a training perspective, which is why it's so important for us not just to teach technical skills regarding corporate governance, which they will get, but the cultural dexterity piece is so important in terms of success.
This has been wonderful. She is back. Thank you.
You are quite welcome. It went by pretty quickly.
It was amazing. I just thank both of you, but certainly thank you, Mr. Ward, for sharing your expertise on this show. It was a terrific dialogue that you all had. Genius is certainly common, and I'll see you both on the other side.
Thanks so much.
The Black Business Expo's mission is to raise funds for high school seniors going to college or K through 12 entrepreneurs. This expo is a fundraiser for students. Please, you may go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com to donate to the scholarship fund, or use the Cash App at $BBX USA. Our goal is to give laptops and up to $5,000 to 10 students. Students can register online at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. Every dollar counts. Please donate to the Black Business Expo USA Scholarship Fund.